Welcome to the last video in Section 7, Working with Stream.io. In the previous video, we are introducing GraphFlow and implemented it, and I hope you are playing with GraphFlow junctions. In this video, we will take a look at Akka Stream.io and its implementation. Let's start. Akka Streams provide a way of handling file or TCP I/O with streams. This means Akka Streams provide simple sources and sinks that can work with byte string instances to perform I/O operations on files. Let's implement our example. First, let's create our source. Let's create a generator of random numbers and filter to get only prime numbers. Then, let's define synchronous file sync that takes a file. The name synchronous file sync may seem a bit weird, since Akka is all about async. However, it's not that scary as it may sound. It simply refers to the underlying I/O APIs that it is using, which are synchronous. The blocking code is carefully separated from the reactive parts of the application for us, so we don't need to worry about the blocking when using this sync. Once Akka Streams will require JDK8, an asynchronous I/O sync will be provided by the team. Now, let's define file sync, which is a flow that transforms every number to byte string, and then we'll connect this flow to our sync by using toMap function. This will generate a new sync. Next, let's create console sync, which prints numbers on the console. Now we have two outputs for which we need a graph flow. Let's create a graph flow with file sync and console sync. And in the body of the builder function, we will define broadcast with two outputs. Let's now define our graph. We connect the source to broadcast and connect broadcast to file and console. And of course, we shouldn't forget to run our runnable. Now let's run our app. Great, our console sync is working. Let's check the file. Excellent. Now let's implement the source from a file. Here is a log file. We will read it and print these lines on the console. First, let's define our file and a source. We will use a synchronous file function from a source object to create our source. One can get access to the I/O syncs using the import akka.stream.io implicits ... to get sync.synchronous source, or one can type synchronous file sync directly. The syncs factory method takes a file object. Then we need to parse chunks of bytes into lines. Now let's create our flow. We will use framing object to create a flow that handles decoding a stream of unstructured byte chunks into a stream of frames. We use a delimiter function that takes delimiter, maximum frame length, and allowed truncation, and then we will map them to UTF-8. Now, let's define our sync that will print on the console. Let's connect the source with the flow and run them with sync. Let's run our app. Great, this is the file content. At the end of Section 7, we have learnt how to work with Akka Stream. That was just an intro to Akka Streams, and it's currently an experimental module. However, it has been already tested and proven to be a valuable part of Akka and is here to stay. Its experimental status means that some parts of the API may change slightly in an upcoming release, but nothing too drastic is expected to change. See you on the next section, Akka HTTP.